Hey y'all, how are you doing? I'm great. Thank you so much for asking. It's me, Kim, and I'm back. Back again. First of all, the audio should be better because my microphone was unplugged for the last one. So I was like, why does it sound like that? It's supposed to sound good. And I'm pretty sure I figured out the screen recording thing. So we're back. So just to give a little recap, this is a bathing suit because all I do is wear bathing suits in the summertime. Right after this, I'm going to record a life update for the Kimberly Nicole Foster members and Substack subscribers. And those videos are just things that I wouldn't share in public. I like to reflect on my life and where I am and my relationship and the ups and downs in that and my plans and all of that. I just have some reflections that I want to get off my chest. A lot has happened since my last update over there. So I'll be doing that right after this. And this video is just going to be me talking about trash, because I love trash. So let's get into it. Yes. Okay. It's you guys are so nice. All right, let's go. I love a PowerPoint, especially for trash. So I have put one together. Oh, girl, it's too hot to be trying to work out in Dallas. It's hot. It's too hot to even, sometimes I park on the roof of this building. It's too hot to even be parking on the roof. So I don't know how y'all be outside. I get in a bad mood every time I have to go outside. Anyways, we're here to talk about some things. Nick Cannon, super sperm, and other hot topics. I just have a few things I would like to discuss. All right, the first thing we're going to discuss is Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon of Wild 'N Out fame, of anti-Semitism fame, of big ass Mariah tattoo across his back fame. He has decided that he wants to fuck every girl in the world, a la Lil Wayne. And so he, since December, has announced the births or impending births of 4 different children. Now, this is interesting to me for a couple of reasons. Nick Cannon, over the past couple of years, has undergone like do we want to call it a spiritual awakening? Like he is a Black Israelite now. He's a Black Israelite now. Oh, let me make myself bigger. 1 second. Let me exit this out. And so he wears a turban. He has also expressed very virulently anti-choice views. It's also interesting to me that Nick Cannon espouses all of this very quote unquote pro-Black messaging, but all of his baby mamas look the same. All right. So a couple of months ago, I remember seeing this video or these pictures. This one on the right or the left her name is DJ Abby De La Rosa. I know too much about this shit, right? And so she just gave birth to twins named Zion Mixolydian and Zillion Air. Okay. And so then this woman on the right, her name is Alyssa Scott. And on Father's Day, she posted this picture to her stories. So literally 3 days after the announced births of Zillion Air and Zion Mixolydian, she has said, thank you, we love you. Now, let me just say, to Nick Cannon's credit, all the women that he's having children with seem to like him. He shows up for all of the maternity shoots, okay? He's apparently paying for them. So, I mean, they seem to have a very cheerful, amiable, amicable arrangement between all of the sister baby mamas. So, I mean, that's something. I guess, though, I have questions. So, look, so there's 2 things here. on one hand, I saw somebody tweeting this. On one hand, families look lots of different ways. There's all kinds of familial configurations that can result in happy, healthy children. I want to acknowledge that, and, Nick Cannon is super hotep. He like this is like base level hotep, and he so he's definitely one of those, I'm sure he believes in the polygamy shit, 100%, right? And he has money. And I know people always want to say it's just about the money that the father has, if he can afford it or whatever. So on one hand, there's that. But on the other hand, it's what do we think the role of a father is? Is it just about the kind of lifestyle that can be afforded to the children? Or is it also about the other parts of building a village and building community and being present? There is something, women already do most of the child rearing. Okay, women already take on most of the responsibility for bringing kids into the world and raising them and making sure they grow up to be responsible, good citizens. So it's now he has 4 children's mothers. Let's take a look at them. So what exactly is your role going to be? I mean, I guess I just have questions about I do have a problem with that. As progressive as I am, as forward-thinking and open as I am, as much as I understand that this idea of the quote-unquote nuclear family is the product truly of Western puritanical Christian culture, there is something that strikes me as not right about going around and having lots of children when you know that you're not going to be able to be physically present for those children the way that most kids expect for their parents to be present. And money, financial support is not a substitute for that. It's not that's just it. And that's not to say that the kids are doomed, that they won't grow up to love each other, that maybe even the mothers of the children have a great, friendship or Mariah ain't fucking with them. Mariah ain't fucking with these ladies. The last 3, Mariah ain't fucking with them. So it's possible that the mothers of the last 3 might have a great relationship and raise the kids together the way that Diddy's kids all, came out of real kind of questionable circumstances, but they love each other. It just reifies this idea that sperm donors just give the sperm and then give some money and then that's it. And then it's cool that the majority of the burden falls on women. But maybe, right? Maybe these women are cool with that. But also they do seem to have a great relationship, now, and all of the mothers seem to like Nick, but it's maybe they had a conversation about him wanting to have a tribe of biracial looking, mixed looking, racially ambiguous kids really close in age. Maybe he had that conversation with all of them. And maybe they were yeah, that sounds great. I wanted to have a baby anyway, so sign me up. We don't know what they knew or what they didn't know. It just looks fucking weird. And also, can you imagine, being Mariah or, being, what are Mariah's kids' name? I don't know. Those kids, and that's, it's kind of embarrassing, right? Damn, your daddy was laying it low and spreading it wide. And your mother is Mariah Carey, And also, frankly, there's also the conversation about Nick picking up all these, wild and out girls, racially ambiguous wild and out girls. What is the workplace environment like at Wild and Out? Okay. Has somebody gone to HR? You know what I'm saying? Like, does there need to be a meeting at MTV, at Viacom? Because I don't know, this don't seem right. Oh, Moroccan and Monroe are Mariah's children's names. It's giving me cult, somebody is saying. Epstein eugenics. There are 7 children, 4 moms, 4 now. 4 now. And it is like, isn't it weird that they all look like that? I mean, isn't it weird that the most pro-Black men, men talking about how white people are the devil, and spewing that anti-Semitic shit. And we got to stick together. And abortion is terrible, is destroying the Black community. Isn't it funny that these are the kind of women? No. Something is not adding up, right? It's like pro-Black everywhere but your bedroom. Also, when I was going, doing the research for this, I also dug up some there was like a scandal. So apparently Nick Cannon had his 3rd baby in December, no, 4th baby in December with a woman named Brittany Bell. But that woman got pregnant while he was living with Jessica White. Now look at how Jessica White looks, okay? Jessica White, beautiful, brown skin, dark skin. I don't know what your delineations are, but certainly unambiguously Black. Now, while he was shacked up with Jessica White, they had a multi-year relationship. All of a sudden, one day, Nick Cannon's 2nd baby mama pops up pregnant. The scandal! Nick Cannon ain't right, y'all. He ain't right. Now, Jessica did a sit-down interview with I don't know, that nasty man. He real nasty and mean. Jason Lee. She did an interview with Jason Lee, and she was like, I had no idea. I had a miscarriage. One day it was announced that she was pregnant. Last year, during the pandemic. Nick Cannon ain't right. He ain't right. Okay. Yes, Jessica had a miscarriage. Yes, she's brown skinned for sure. Right. Considering Mariah's upbringing, this must be one of her greatest fears for her kids. She always wanted a functional family, not this ghetto mess. Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not so sure about Mariah's upbringing, but I definitely know that she has a fractured relationship with her siblings and maybe with her father or something. Is that what you're alluding to, Trisha? For sure, right? And Mariah waited, got married, had her kids when she was in her 40s. That is just it's so funny. What's so funny, right? Even when you do things the quote unquote right way, right? Like Nick and Mariah fell in love, and I think she had to have in vitro, and she had those twins. Men will still find a way to embarrass you. You still have to be embarrassed by proxy. That's embarrassing. Anyways, Jessica deserves so much better. I just know Nick is singing the biracial. Yes, that is Nick Cannon's mating call. She's biracial. She's biracial, girl, for sure. It's crazy. He already told us he sleeps with them because they are forbidden fruit. What? Okay. It is just crazy. As long as Nick is picking up the tab and is in their lives as the stable fatherly figure. Here's the thing though. How stable can you be if you work as much as Nick Cannon works and you have 4 households to visit? That's my thing, right? Because here's the thing though, it's men who have 1 child with one mother can have issues seeing the child and being present. It doesn't matter. Money does not buy you more hours in the day. Money does not buy you more time. So that's why I'm like, so you just want to be a sperm donor. You just want your seed to be out there to be, and also the names of the kids are weird as fuck. The baby born in December, her name is Powerful Queen Cannon. Like, what's happening? Not to name shame, but it's like, it's real weird to me, you guys. It's just weird. It's strange. Let me look at the comments. My father lived with us, and I barely saw him because he had to work to take care of multiple households. Okay, Precious. It's not possible to be a present father and have multiple households. Some of those kids will miss out. And then that also engenders jealousy. It engenders competition. But, I don't know. Like I said, if there is an example of a rich Black man who had kids all over the place, who seems to have made it work, I would probably point to Sean Combs. And those kids seem to have a great relationship. They seem to adore him and adore each other. So maybe it is super possible. But like, he has 5 kids, right? 5 kids with 3 women. Unfortunately, Kim Porter passed. Nick has 7 kids with 4 women. And he don't have Sean Combs' money. It's just very strange. But also, we also have to talk about the gender dynamics of this, right? And I know, like, if you believe in evolutionary biology, there's all of this conversation about, well, women can only have 1 baby at a time, and men can get an infinite number of women pregnant. So it's fine. But it's also like, if this were, look at the shit that Erykah Badu gets and has gotten, right? A woman who has 3 baby daddies. If this were a Black woman who is showing up year after year pregnant, wouldn't be no mainstream career, wouldn't be no TV shows. It just wouldn't happen. Anyways, that's all. How can you be an active father with children all over the country? Yes, Eddie Murphy is another one who has kids all over the place. Yeah. Even Diddy's kids don't seem to know him. Yeah. Look at Keke Wyatt, for sure. For sure. And honestly, even Keke Wyatt, right, with all of her kids, even she gets, because she's like a biracial woman. Imagine if, I'm trying to make sure my boobs don't come out. And it's funny because I don't even have boobs. So it's really weird to have to be worried about that. Even she gets more leeway than a dark-skinned woman would get for having 10 kids. Okay. And in traditional polygamy, everyone lives in one compound. Honestly, I think it's fine to have a big family with multiple families within if everyone agrees, but this is hardly ever the case. Yeah, so this is like the tricky part about that is because I want to say that consenting adults get to do whatever they want to do, right? Like that is a part of reproductive justice. The right to have as many kids as you want, the right to have no children, the right to raise your children in a safe environment. I'm just thinking like practically, what is the reality going to be? I'm very, even as somebody who doesn't have a desire to have children, I am very sensitive to the kinds of adult bullshit that people birth children into, Are you birthing your children into adult mess? Don't do that. And I understand that that is judgy. I'll just be that. I will be that. Kids don't deserve to be born into adult mess. Right. Prince says the kids can't agree though. For sure. For sure. Isn't this also Elon Musk's situation? Elon Musk, I think, I don't know how many, because Elon Musk had like triplets, right? With his ex-wife. He had like a baby and then she had triplets. And now he has another baby with Grimes. How many baby mamas does Elon Musk have? How many baby mamas does Offset have? A lot. A lot. You know something I think about with Offset? This is just Kimberly, like celebrity obsessed Kimberly talking. Something I do think about with Offset is we see Cardi post culture and Offset all the time. And Offset lives with Cardi and Culture, so he has a great relationship with them and he sees them. And, you know, Culture is wearing baby Givenchy and all that kind of stuff. Certainly, the other kids, Offset's other children, see the kind of life that Culture gets to live. And there has to be some feelings there. There has to. Like, that's the thing about having kids all over the place, you guys. And I'm not trying to sound like Ben Shapiro here. I'm not trying to sound like a conservative Republican family values person. All I am saying is that it is children notice. Children notice. Kids notice. You know, even I had a different kind of upbringing. Me and my sister have different fathers, right? We're 8 years apart. I had a different kind of upbringing than she had. Kids notice. You know, it engenders resentment. Anyways, let me look at the super chat. Saja says, Nick won't be for the streets, but women take one sexy pic and it's over, even for a good girl like Aisha Curry. Yeah. It's some old BS for real, for real. My older siblings resented me into their 30s. Yeah. I also think you have to acknowledge agency of the baby mamas. They knew what they were signing up for. I mean, we actually don't know if they knew what they were signing up for. Like, that's the thing, right? So again, if all of them, if Nick Cannon sits all of them down and says, I want to have an army of ambiguous looking children, that this is my plan, and they say, okay, great, that's one thing. Don't forget Fetty Wap too. I'm starting to think rappers having lots of kids is some rite of passage or something. I definitely think that at this point, having lots of children is maybe not a rite of passage, but for sure a status symbol. Like the idea that you can afford to have lots of kids. I think Kim Kardashian has done this too. The idea that you can afford to be super ambitious and have lots of kids and pay for the nannies and pay for them to have the best life. I absolutely believe that in 2021, that is a status symbol. For sure. KL, Offset that Cardi made him take better care of his other kids for that same reason you stated. Oh, yeah, I think that's good. It's so interesting that it's always like women coming in and being like, hey, you should take care of your kids. Hey, by the way, those other kids you have, like, they should, they deserve nice things too. Ray says, my daddy got 10 kids by 8 different women. I'm the third oldest. I'm 29. My youngest sibling is 8. I don't watch Nick Cannon's podcast. I only see the clips when he goes viral for saying something problematic. And I'm not listening to any Nation of Islam niggas. That's not what I'm going to do with my free time. By the time you're the 6th, you probably know. We need to break these family generational bad habits. 3 of these women were pregnant at the same time. How could they know what they were signing up for? He was clearly laying it low and spreading it wide. That's the thing, right? Like, there's a lot of speculation that we just can't do here. Is Nick Cannon saying, hey, by the way, there are 2 other women pregnant right now, just so you know? All right, let's move on. There's other things that I want to talk about. Oh, positive Black girl news. Sha'Carri Richardson. You know, I'm a Dallasite now. I've moved to Dallas. I think I'm gonna be here for a minute. Sha'Carri Richardson qualified for the Olympics, and like that was the Black girl moment of joy over the weekend. I just like her. Like, she's fun. She's a lesbian. She has cute hair, dresses cute. Let's watch the videos.
Sha'Carri said hi to her mum on our cameras yesterday.
Oh, Sha'Carri. Y'all can hear, right? Love it. Honestly, when I saw that clip, I cried. That's her grandmother. All right, next clip. Let's go. Next one. Come on.
Unbelievable. The fact that I am an Olympian, no matter what is said or anything, I am an Olympian. A dream since I've been young. I'm pretty sure everybody's dream as a track athlete. So being happy is an understatement. Being excited, nervous, all of those feelings count in one. I'm highly blessed and grateful.
We'll talk about the race in a moment, but just the rush to get up the steps to see your family, your grandmother, your dad, your mom, everybody. What is that? What does that mean?
Because my family has kept me grounded. This year has been crazy for me. Going from just last week, losing my biological mother, and I'm still here.
What did you say? You lost your mother?
Yeah. I'm still here. Last week, finding out my biological mother passed away, and still choosing to pursue my dreams, still coming out here, still making sure to make the family that I do still have on this earth proud. And the fact that nobody knows what I go through. Everybody has struggles, and I understand that. But y'all see me on this track, and y'all see the poker face I put on, but nobody but them and my coach know what I go through on a day-to-day basis, and I'm highly grateful for them. Without them, there would be no me. Without my grandmother, that would be no Sha'Carri Richardson. So my family is my everything. My everything. To the day I'm done.
Oh my goodness. I don't want to cry. I'm sorry. We're going to have to move on from that because this is actually making me tear up. So, oh my gosh. Sha'Carri is 21. She is from Oak Cliff, South Dallas. Shout out to South Dallas. She was at LSU and then she dropped. I mean, I don't know if I should say dropped out, but she dropped out to become a professional athlete. She wanted to be an Olympian. I believe she was raised by her grandmother, and her birth mother literally just died. What a fucking story. What a story. Her girlfriend picked out the hair color because she said that the hair color matches Sha'Carri's vibrant energy. Jesus. Black people be going through a lot. A lot. Goodness. Last one.
What do you want the world to know about what you just did in the semifinal run?
I just want the world to know that I'm that girl that every time I step on the track, I'm going to try to do what it is that me, my coach, my support team believe I can do, and the talent that God blessed me to have to do. Every time I step on the track, I'm never going to take the opportunity to perform for Jay and they.
Oh, I love her. I'm rooting for her. You know, I wrote years ago an article on the For Harriet website about how, I don't really be fucking with America like that. The one time where I can muster up any kind of national pride or, pride in being an American is during the Olympics. And really it is about rooting for Black American people who I know, like, for so many Black American people, like the way that you are able to escape your circumstances, the way that you are able to prove yourself worthy and valuable is via sports. It's via being exceptional in the sporting arena. Like that's like one of the only instances, the Olympics, where Black American people get to be welcomed into the fold of, yes, you are an American and yes, you matter. And I have feelings about that, but I recognize that for so many athletes, that is so deeply meaningful. Like Kimberly can't run, so I don't know what that feels like. But when you hear these athletes talk about being children, sacrificing, working, right? Like having this one goal, pouring everything into that goal and finally meeting that goal, I find that to be deeply, deeply moving. Even me, deeply cynical Kimberly, cannot deny that that is meaningful. For sure. For sure. Yes, racist will cheer on Simone. Yeah. The way they do us every 4 years or every 2 years, depending on what's the Olympics. Yeah. Anyways, I hope that she gets all of the money and the endorsements. I hope that she does great at the Olympics. I don't really care about sports, but I will be watching. I also hope that we're not going to do any like weirdo pitting American Black women versus other nationalities of Black women. Like I already saw somebody on Twitter being like, Shelly and Fraser Price did it first. And it's like, okay, right? Like, fine. But obviously, immediately, when you see somebody who self-presents the way that Sha'Carri self-presents, you automatically have to start thinking of Florence Griffith Joyner. Let's go. Oh, here's a good meme that I saw. A gentle reminder to love and cheer for Black girls with orange hair, long nails, tats, and lashes, even when they aren't the fastest woman in the country. I mean, absolutely. There is something to be said about how we treat exceptional Black people who defy class norms or gender norms versus the way that we treat the regular everyday Black people, particularly Black girls who violate those norms, right? Like in the last For Harriet Live, I talked about gender cops, right? And how we are all taught to be gender cops. We are taught to look around and seek out anybody who we feel like is violating the acceptable mode of being a woman and degrade them and point them out and tell them they ain't shit and they ain't never gonna be shit and tell them they're embarrassing. But when we want to feel good, right, we use those people who violate those norms, right? We use them as tokens. We use them as avatars. Let's not do that. I saw Dr. Treva Lindsay, making the point about how Black girls, particularly if you're not classed, particularly if you show up a certain way, are pushed out of school, that they also experience the school to prison pipeline, right? Like, if you go into Sha'Carri's biography, like if you really go into it, that is some depressing shit. Just to be real, right? Like that girl ain't had a good life. And she would not be set up to have a good life if she weren't really, really good at track. There are lots of people who have biographies like Sha'Carri who are not going to live good lives, who don't have options, who are going to be lost and forgotten in these systems. And so I do think, we don't want to rain on the Sha'Carri Richardson parade, right? Like celebrate her for who she is. But it's always useful for us to remember that, like, it's hard out here. It's hard. Hello, Hattie Gay. Welcome to the Overachievers. That is what I've decided to call the private community on here. I work with Sha'Carri's every day. People hate them for being themselves, and it's extra weird. Yes. Tamar says, I need to read Push Out. Yeah, Push Out by Monique Wingfield. What is it? Push Out. Let me look it up, the book. Push Out. Yes, Push Out. The Criminalization of Black Girls in Schools by Monique Morris. For sure. For sure. Sha'Carri's mother and father didn't want her. These kids will never have to send in a CV, so their names can be straight out of Hotep Stan. Okay, you're behind. It's hard to balance celebrating people who make it without enforcing the myth that people can make it. It's difficult, right? That is the hard part, right? Because we don't want to deny Sha'Carri her flowers. We don't want to. But also, we also don't want to play into the idea that the only way that you are deserving of celebration and support is if you can run fast, or if you can sing, or if you can rap, or if you can be really good at school, if you're really good at taking standardized tests. But let's not turn this into a referendum on the failures of the United States of America. We don't have to do that. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about FloJo a little. So anyways, obviously, the comparisons between Sha'Carri and FloJo were going to be imminent. I honestly, Florence Griffith Joyner died in 1998, and I wasn't really super familiar with her until I really got to college, and then I learned about like her story, and she had such an interesting rise to fame. Like, not me like going back over her Wikipedia, but it is really interesting to me that like she didn't really even start training to be an athlete until she was in her early 20s. And somebody was like, you're going to be, Bob Kersey was like, oh, let's train. And then she went to her first Olympics when she was in her 20s, but she didn't even win all of those medals. The 1988 Olympics, when she won 3 gold medals and 1 silver medal, until she was in her late 20s, until she was 27, 28, like 8. Like, that's interesting to me. What a freaking story, that lady. But anyways, I said that because, there's this Black women track athletes in particular are known for their aesthetics, right? For interesting hairstyles and wigs and nails and all of that. And FloJo was definitely like a pioneer of that. I found this really interesting interview that she did. Let's see.
Hi, I'm Anne Ligori, and
okay, let's go.
4 medals in 88, 3 golds, and 1 silver, 5 overall. And I must say, you don't always dress like this.
No, unfortunately, I can't run in an outfit like this. Not yet.
But really, one of your claims to fame, along with the competitive aspect of your athletic career, is just how feminine you looked on the track, on and off the track, obviously, and you look gorgeous.
Thank you. Well, I don't believe you have to look masculine in order to compete in a sport they consider rough. And track and field is a beautiful sport, and I just wanted to bring in.
I love archives, so I just wanted to share this.
Onto the track just to be myself, and fashion designing for my life since I was a young child.
It was something that really new in the world of track and field. When you first, I know you wore the one-legged outfits and you designed some of them, and and the long nails. How did the other women react when you first started doing that? That must have caused a little jolt in the world of track and field, for at least a little.
Some of my friends that are in track and field, they responded by saying, wow, are you going to really actually wear that? And I said, well, yes, I feel comfortable in that. And some will say, well, it's not me, I wouldn't wear it. But they respected me as an athlete.
Was there a little bit of jealousy at first with just the appearance? And really, it's so different now. I mean, now people are used to it, but when you first started.
I think people were more shocked to see the kind of outfits I wore and to have the long nails. They were more curious about how I would be able to perform. Someone made a comment in the paper years ago that, well, she won't be able to run fast with fingernails that long and her hair that way and those outfits. But I just wanted to tell them that it doesn't matter what you wear, it's what you believe that you can do.
How important was the whole concept to you, Florence? Because for so many years, men and some women looked down on women who were athletic, thinking, oh, it's not a respected thing to do. Your brothers, when I was in high school.
Okay, we're done. Anyways, I'm obsessed with archives, and like that's why YouTube is the best thing ever, because there are just so many random video clips of people. So anyways, I just wanted to share that because I've never heard her speak before I found that clip. And it's really interesting to think about how, like, you know, it's in a Black person's soul to rock that gold, according to Kanye West. There is something like, you know, like the sartorial brilliance of Black people, sartorial meaning adornment, right? Like what you put on your body, right? Like mixing that with also being an exceptional athlete and you're a woman, it's just like a lot. It was a lot. Shout out to FloJo. I appreciate that. What's the next thing we're going to talk about? Oh, the TikTok kids. Let's talk about the TikTok kids. So, Megan Thee Stallion released Thought Shit, and I already did a whole breakdown of the video. I like the song. It's a good enough song. But of course, the way that songs take off in the 2020s is the kids get on TikTok and they make a dance, and then it becomes a challenge, and then we all do the dance. And so for Thought Shit, a bunch of creators got together and then decided we're going to have a Black people blackout. We are not going to make a dance to Thought Shit. We're going to see the white people flounder. They're not going to be able to come up with anything. And then they will be able to finally appreciate us. Okay, let's.
For all my melaninly and rhythmically blessed brethren, when I say I'm begging y'all not to make a dance to this sound, because watching the girls flail in our absence, please. What did he say? Yikes.
Right.
Over the weekend, several Black women TikTok creators announced that they were going on strike. They were refusing to choreograph a dance for Megan Thee Stallion's new single, Thought Shit. Previously, Black women TikTokers like Jalea Harmon and Kiara Wilson created viral dances to songs like K Camp's Renegade or Megan Thee Stallion's Savage remix. However, the Black women who created these dances were often uncompensated and uncredited for their work, as white social media stars like Addison Rae stole their work and performed inferior versions on a national stage. Black TikTokers' refusal to have their work and culture appropriated taps into a larger history of white capitalists profiting off the unpaid labor of Black Americans.
Okay. So I'm going to take a second to be Media Kim right now. I'm going to be Media Kim. So I get it. I get it, right? Like I have said repeatedly on this channel, on Twitter, many other places, that social media is fueled by the exploitation of Black creators. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so we are now at the point where it's normal to have conversations about credit and who gets famous and who doesn't get famous and who gets rich and who doesn't get rich and who gets invited on the late night shows, right? Like, and so, you know, I think really Jalea Harmon with the, what is it? What is that dance? Renegade. Jalea Harmon, who came up with the Renegade dance, right? It's so good that she has poured gasoline on the movement to make sure that the brilliance, you know, the creativity, the choreography of young Black people gets recognized. I get it. My only thing is, this doesn't really hurt white people, and it doesn't really hurt the platforms. I'm not against a blackout. I'm not against a strike. I think actually that can even be useful for building solidarity among Black creators. It can be useful to build awareness about the issue of exploitation and lack of credit, right? Erasure. But Black people choosing to sit out doesn't really punish white people, and it doesn't punish the platforms. Ultimately, it ends up punishing Black people, right? Because, like, I'm sure that there's a young Black person, a Black girl who is in her room who has a fire dance to thought shit, and now she's not gonna be able to get her dance out. You know, it's like, you know, like that's the thing. Like that's the thing about institutional inequality, right? The remedies to institutional inequality can't be individual. It literally has to be about the top down saying, like, we're going to completely revamp this shit or change the structure. The exploitation is built in, you know? So, you know, I just feel like more than anything, it deprives talented Black dancers of an opportunity to be seen, to be creative. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong here, but I'm just not sure. I'm not sure what the aims are or what the outcomes are. Yeah. Perhaps the main goal isn't to hurt. Perhaps it's to stand up to fair credit and act compensation. Right. But, right. But in order to, the only way, right? So the best tool to change the norms is to shame, right? The best tool to change norms is shame. So and that's what happened in the Jalea Harmon Renegade case, right? When it was like, there was the NBA All-Star game, and then Charli D'Amelio got invited to do the Renegade dance. And then there was like this big outcry of like, she didn't come up with that though. And then the NBA was forced to reach out to Jalea and be like, oh, here's a primetime slot. As long as you are participating on these platforms, you are opening yourself up to exploits, like that's baked in. I'm really trying to, like, TikTok doesn't work without that. The Black creators weren't getting anything before. Well, that's their opportunity to be creative and build their platform and be known and share their creativity. Right? Like, what are the options here? Like, truly, what are the options for creators? You either don't participate, you don't participate on the platform where everybody is, and then what? I'm just saying, like, it's truly a lose-lose. I'm truly trying to work through this. It's a lose-lose situation. So you either participate, right? And like in the hopes that your stuff will take off and you'll get followers and you'll be able to translate those followers or translate that notoriety into something else, or you don't participate in the primary vehicles for sharing creativity for young people. And then what? What are the alternatives? I just, So I get it, right? Like, I actually think that this is a really important conversation to have. I'm just having trouble working through what the desired outcomes are and how we're going to get to those outcomes. We can learn to resist the attention economy. For sure. But this is also like, but telling young people to just resist or turn away from the attention economy, where that is where their social life is, where that is where creativity lives, where that's where they connect with each other, where that's their outlet, where that for a lot of young people is the way that they generate income. Telling people just to not participate doesn't make sense. It's like telling people to not use the telephone. You know what I'm saying? Like, in 2021, it doesn't make sense to tell Gen Z just don't use Instagram or TikTok or Snapchat. It's a utility. How can change happen on a platform designed for us to fail? I am trying to imagine it, truly. I mean, like, literally, I'm trying to imagine it. If you tell folks to get off TikTok, that's fine. But what are you going to replace it with? I think that's like it. Truly. Yeah. I agree with their protest. Stop participating for a month or two and see what happens. It can't hurt. It can't hurt. Sure. It can't hurt. I wonder, I'm trying to imagine in my head what happens after you stop participating for a month. I just am having difficulty there. Yeah. Prince says, this is another example of marketplace meets playground. Exactly. Yeah. We want kids to have a space to have fun and be weird and creative and try things. But unfortunately, at this point, especially when we're talking about these platforms, all of the playgrounds are now marketplaces. It's like back when I was a kid, back in my day, when you made a Zanga or you made a live journal or you made a MySpace. Well, maybe not MySpace, right? But I wasn't thinking about turning it into a business. I just think that there's just so many more pressures that come into play when from the very beginning it gets turned into a business. And it's about how can you achieve hyper visibility on those platforms. Yeah. If they weren't getting recognition before, what difference will it make? They can still have fun outside of the TikTok. That's not I'm sorry, it just is not realistic. It's not realistic, right? Like you can't tell people when they're an integral part of their lives, how they define themselves, how they move through the world, how they relate to each other, to just stop using social media. This is a platform problem. It's not a kid problem. It's not a Gen Z problem. It's a platform problem. All right, let's move on. Come on. Media again, OnlyFans. Let us go to the OnlyFans. So anyways, OnlyFans has now decided that it wants to be a serious company and be taken seriously. And so now they are trying to turn away from the stigma of being associated with adult content. Oh gosh, let's look at this. Sorry. And now they're trying to be more mainstream, which is so interesting to me, right? So OnlyFans is now a huge platform where creators can monetize videos and picture posts, right? And over the pandemic, it has basically exploded. And now the OnlyFans, like the owners of OnlyFans, want to get more funding so that they can be a unicorn. Tech unicorns are companies that are valued over $1 billion. And so now they're saying, yes, we understand that we built up this company on the backs of sex workers and adult entertainers, but sex work still has a stigma, right? And like, as we are trying to grow and become legitimate and get more money, we are going to have to shed that sex work stigma. That's interesting to me. So OnlyFans was founded in 2016, and the man who founded OnlyFans had a long history of creating different kinds of platforms for sex workers and adult entertainers. Like literally, he would go to like adult film, like award ceremonies and like talk to porn stars and be like, I built this thing, come on this thing. And then they gave him feedback like, actually, we need a way to monetize this. And then he made OnlyFans. And so that's really what's made it grow. Let me look at the numbers here, because it has a whole bunch of people. OnlyFans, it was valued at more than $1 billion. Let me look. 400 million. Okay, $2 billion in sales last year. That is crazy. $2 billion in sales. It's not telling me how many actual like people are on only. 1.25 million creators on the platform. That is crazy, right? 130 million registered users, 400 million in revenue. Okay, so that's interesting that it's like just now trying to be valued at $1 billion, because I looked, right? I use Patreon. First of all, I use Patreon because I don't understand. I understand that OnlyFans is a huge platform, but if you are a creator, Patreon is much more creator friendly. I don't know why people who don't do adult content would be on OnlyFans. Because OnlyFans, adult entertainers go to OnlyFans because you can't do adult content on any of the other paid platforms. But OnlyFans takes 20% off the top. I would never do that. It's just not financially smart. Patreon, I think I pay out maybe 7 or 8%, and they ship out merch and stuff, or they're supposed to ship out merch. I don't know if they be shipping out merch on time. But like the idea of like just being on OnlyFans just to be on it when you don't have to be, is just not a smart financial decision. But anyways, Patreon at this point is valued at over $4 billion. But Patreon, I think has, let me look at my notes. Patreon has 250,000 creators and it's valued at $4 billion, whereas OnlyFans has over 1 million creators and is valued at $1 billion. And so you can see the profit incentive why the OnlyFans people are like, oh, we got to go straight. Okay, we gotta clean it up so that we can be worth more money. That's what's gonna happen. Now, of course, the question is, sorry, niggas are texting. As OnlyFans tries to pursue mainstream legitimacy, what's gonna happen to the adult entertainers who built up the platform? That's always the question. So are they going to start policing, the adult entertainers? Are they going to start marginalizing them? Like, what is going to happen to the sex workers and the strippers, and, the nude photographers who have made OnlyFans pop? Like, that's the real question. How is OnlyFans going to stay profitable without sex workers, though? Like, what is their plan? Okay, so the plan, if you subscribe to Bloomberg, you can see there's a couple of different articles on this. The plan is to invite famous people and invite athletes and musicians and try to slowly transition it into being just creators, not sex workers, creators. Because, the big grift right now is to make things for the creator economy. That's what OnlyFans is planning to do. Does it seem Jordan Woods, OnlyFans was legitimate at first. It was for celebs paid stuff. No, that's not true. OnlyFans from the very beginning, it was very intentionally marketed to sex workers and adult entertainers. From the very beginning. So first of all, I don't think that it's going to be possible for OnlyFans to completely shed the stigma. It's just not possible. We still live in such a like a puritanical culture, like, simultaneously obsessed with sex and sexuality, but also like disgusted by it. It's simply not going to be possible for OnlyFans to, people be talking about OnlyFans and the songs and Demon Time and all that. Like, they can try it. For sure, they can try it, but I don't see it happening. And again, as a person who makes a lot of money a month via subscriptions, if you don't make adult content, financially, it does not make sense to be on OnlyFans. Why are you giving OnlyFans 20% of your money? It does not make sense. It's silly. All right, let's go back. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm not sure what my next story is. This is an assemblage of stories right now. Let's share it. All right, next. Oh, Chloe Bailey. So you guys know I made a whole video over on For Harriet about the fact that I am a Chloe and Halle stan. I particularly love Chloe. I'm just partial to Chloe. Halle is brilliant too. I've gone back and re-listened to all of their albums. I will not front on Halle. The vocals are crystal clear. They're pristine. The harmonies are sickening. Her guitar playing is amazing. I just am a Chloe girl. So over the weekend, right, was Juneteenth. Happy belated Juneteenth, especially to the Black Texans. And on a ABC broadcast, Chloe performed her cover of Feeling Good. Okay, so Feeling Good was popularized, not originated, by Nina Simone. And Chloe remade the song, re-recorded it, produced it herself, and then performed it. As much as I love Chloe, okay, I'm a Chloe. I love Chloe. I was not feeling that performance at all. I was not feeling it at all. I wasn't, you guys. I think Chloe is brilliant. I think she's a brilliant producer, a brilliant vocalist, but I just didn't like it. I didn't like the lip syncing. It felt very contrived. As somebody who pulls a lot of faces, right, I have had to learn when to go like full face and when to pull it back, right? Because I think that when you are trying to convey emotions, when you are performing, when you're talking to people, you have to have dynamics. You can't be 10 all the time. You have to. And so one thing that I do, people always ask me like, what are your tips? One thing that I do, and if you watch me, something that I do is I will go, yelling. Sorry for your eardrums. Yelling, Kim. And then I'll pull it back. Because that balance is really important so that people stay in tune with you, right? I did not like that Chloe was on 10 the whole performance, and every single face, every movement, every shoulder rub, everything that she did with her fingers was so choreographed. It just made me cringe a little bit. I think that great performances are filled with happy accidents. You know, like the magic of great performances happens in the stuff that just like is organic. And so if every single thing is super, super choreographed like that, it takes some of the fun out of it for me. And I also think a part of it is the lip syncing. Chloe and Halle love a recorded vocal, right? A recorded live vocal, right? A vocal that sounds like it's live, but is actually recorded. And I understand that if you're doing all that, the rolling around on the floor and the pulling faces and the leg in the air, that you're probably not going to be able to sing live. But I think that the performance would have been elevated by live singing. It maybe would have felt less forced, less contrived, less overwrought if it was a live vocal, so we could get some, maybe, a voice crack or a breath, just a breath. We just needed more space in that performance. It didn't like it. And then she also performed again on Good Morning America and she was standing and did another recorded vocal and did another lip sync. And I was just like, but we know you can sing. But we know you can sing. Like it's actually much more impressive when we hear the live vocal. And I don't know why she's making those choices, but it just really takes me out of it. It really takes me out of it. So, I'm obsessed with Chloe. I think that she's brilliant. Obviously. Yeah, and imperfection. Yeah, imperfection is the word that I was looking for. Thank you, Trio. I just want to hear a little, maybe she wanted insurance. Absolutely. Yeah. I think she wanted to prove herself as a solo performer. Sure. And I think I mentioned this, when I did a little live video on Instagram. The other thing about something I know when you're performing and you're nervous is it can also make you lock up, when you're tense and you want it so bad, it can make things just become robotic and rigid. And I felt like that performance felt robotic to me. We know Chloe can sing, though. That's not really the point, right? We know Fantasia can sing, right? We know Beyonce can sing. We know Yolanda Adams can sing. But there is something gorgeous and super compelling about listening to singers give a live vocal. There is something that keeps you on the edge of your seat where you're like, are they going to be able to pull it off? Are they going to be able to hit the note? What's going to happen next? That adds just another layer to it. All right, let's move on. Oh, but I did appreciate, I'm a forever fan of Chloe Bailey, the producer. And I thought it was so interesting that she released background of her producing this song. Is it going to play? Or no? Okay, I guess it's not going to play. Come on. There it goes. this shit is amazing.
Here we go.
Okay, we'll stop it there. But like a 22-year-old woman sitting in a room, recording all the vocals herself, layering the vocals, blending the vocals, doing the harmonies, arranging it. Like, come on. That's why I'm gonna stand. Okay. I'm gonna stick beside her. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna stick beside her because that shit is amazing. Like, undeniable talent. For sure. For sure. And obviously, you know, people are immediately going to compare Chloe to Beyonce. So, you know what I thought? Like, this is just random, crazy archival cam. I thought it would be interesting to look at what Beyonce was doing when she was Chloe's age. You know, since people are like, Chloe is the new Beyonce. And I'm like, she's taking notes, but Chloe does different stuff than Beyonce. But anyways, let's hope this doesn't get taken down. Oh, or maybe I can. Okay, shit. Because this is about to get taken down.
Beyonce.
Okay. Okay, that was my attempt to try to evade the YouTube copyright gods. But anyways, that was Beyonce when she was Chloe's age. You know what the craziest shit in the world is? I remember these performances like they were yesterday. Like, I remember watching them live. But anyways, right, like what Beyonce has always been really good at is Beyonce does lip sync, but she always mixes in a live vocal. So she always gives us an ad lib. So she's always singing, right? Like we hear her really singing, but there's pre-recorded stuff in the back. And so it is the extra riff. It is the ad libs. It is the hey, because Beyonce loves the hey. That's a Beyonce, right? Like that is the stuff that like elevates a performance. Okay. All right, let's move on. Oh, why did I put this in here? Oh, this is just like a performance, like one of my favorite Barbra Streisand, Judy Garland performances. So we're just gonna listen to it. I mean, just a little. Why did I do this? Oh, you know, live vocal. The happy accidents of live vocals. Okay, let's get to the crescendo. Oh, this is the best part. The best part. Oh, this is my shit. That's my shit, bro. Y'all don't even know. Like, I was in middle school and I would just like watch that video on repeat. It is so good. But obviously, Barbara and Judy are just, icons. But you can be effective and compelling and dramatic and just sit and give a live vocal. And I understand that Chloe wants to be a great performer and wants to likes to choreograph her own stuff and wants to roll around on the floor and but it's like, there's just like a balance, but she's young and there's just so much time for her to refine and improve and polish. I just wanted to watch Barbara and Judy. I'm just going to be honest with you. That's why I put it in here. What's the next thing we're going to talk about? Kevin Hart on Red Table Talk. So I also did a whole video about Kevin Hart on the For Harriet channel, and somebody told me to watch him and Will Smith on Red Table Talk and see how I felt about it. And I thought that there were some interesting parts of the conversation. Look, is Kevin Hart my cup of tea? Nah, he's not my cup of tea. But there were some interesting things. So let's, watch.
My daughter's side. My daughter had a talk with me about her mother that rocked me. She checked me. Mm-hmm. She said, I want you to stop saying, because when you say these things, Dad,
right,
this and this and this.
Yeah.
But honey, I don't mean it. Like, I'm just talking. It doesn't matter, Dad.
Yeah. You're not just talking.
Doesn't matter, Dad, when you said these words.
You unleash dogs on people.
But honey, what are you talking? This is me. I'm just being myself. But Dad, you can't.
The one thing that Cherie, my ex, Trey's mother, would always say that I had to be careful how I talked about our marriage and our divorce. Oof. And I didn't realize, it really took me years to comprehend. She was like, whatever you say, the world is going to punish me for that. So you are giving people permission to say and do things to me on the street.
Mm-hmm. It took a while for me to understand that.
Yeah.
It took a while for me to understand that. Because you don't want it first.
You don't, yeah, it's like, it's a joke.
What are you talking about? I'm just talking.
Yeah.
I said you got.
All right. So, I thought that was interesting. Kevin Hart has publicly cheated on both of his wives. And so after he cheated on Tori and then got with Eniko, there was so much conversation about Tori being bitter and she's not as pretty as Eniko and all of that. And Kevin Hart has incorporated his family dynamics and stuff about his wives and his children into his act. And I thought it was interesting that his daughter, who is now 16, is the one who had to be like, hey, you're actually making people vulnerable to attacks when you say this stuff, And there was a point where it was like Kevin and Eniko versus Tori, where Tori had one version of events, and then Kevin and Eniko were like, no, that's not true. And then Tori becomes, the bitter, dark-skinned, broke baby mama. And so, the fact that it is his daughter who had to be like, what are you doing? Okay. I thought that was interesting. Next clip.
It was soft for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm so driven. I'm so about the W's.
Yeah.
And that's what I know how to do. I know how to
that flag to the top of that hill.
I know how to win.
Yeah.
I know how to win. Yeah. I know how to lead. I do it very well.
Yeah.
But in this thing of parenting, this energy doesn't necessarily match.
Right. I defined love as getting my kids to win. Trey was playing football while Jaden was doing the Karate Kid, and then Willow had whipped my hair. I could not find that space inside of me where feelings were more important than accomplishment. So my parenting style and my definition of a father's love is I am going to teach you how to win, right? The hidden part of that is I'm going to teach you how to not care about your feelings, right?
Shut off.
Which is a deep and just tragic betrayal of the most important part of themselves. And that's what was really great about this red table, Jada having.
You know what? I want to give credit where credit is due. I thought that those were really interesting reflections, really cogent, thoughtful reflections that apply not just to rich, famous Black men. You know, I've talked before about the fact that my mother taught me how to work hard, taught me how to be the best, okay? Taught me how to be number one and make a lot of money. Didn't teach me how to deal with feelings though, because we didn't do feelings. We didn't have time for feelings, okay? And I think like that's the kind of trauma that a lot of Black people, upwardly mobile Black people who come from poverty have and pass down to their children, where it's like, oh, we're sad, but wouldn't you rather be sad in a nice house? Yeah, like, oh, okay, you need therapy, but wouldn't you rather need therapy in a car rather than walking? I feel like that's a lot of Black folks have to deal with do you want to be a drill sergeant or do you want to be a soft place to land for your children? I thought that was really interesting. And Will Smith really seems to have gotten it, right? But I think you can't, you know, if you're in a house with like Jada and Willow, like you have to get it. I don't know about Kevin. I don't know if he really gets it, but Will seems to have really gotten it. Next clip. Oh, is it gonna play? Oh, girl, not my computer giving me the spinning wheel of death right now. Oh, nope. Okay, let's go back. Play.
With the new kids. And it's like, I mean, I love it, but I was like, my baby's 20.
Man,
Willow's 20 years old, so I got my life back.
Idiot, what was he doing? I was right there.
Right there.
Done. 16. What? I'm right there. I'm at the finish line.
Yo, and he went back to the beginning, but
My day, I couldn't be happier.
yeah, no, that's
Couldn't be happier.
I probably changed 3 diapers in my life, but I got 3 kids. I literally changed all of their diapers once just to say I did, right? And I've probably done like 20 baths.
Yeah.
Jada and Cherie had the rest of that.
I'm not far behind.
How much?
I'm not far behind. I'm not far behind.
I was like, I'm the work father. When they have a project, I'm all in, and we're 24 hours a day, and I'm waking them up to work on their school project. Like, I love projects.
I'm activity dad.
Yeah.
The diapers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
If I have to, I'm your last option. And better believe, like, you know, Zoe, there's been situations where I've smelled Zoe for a long time.
And at that point, it's just like, it's a selfish thing.
It's
You
like,
change it for selfish reasons.
because I feel bad. Like, I know, like, when I change it, I'm like, well, I guess I got to.
All right, I clipped out that clip because, ew. Y'all are not embarrassed by that? Like, I understand that there are these dynamics that men who are breadwinners have with regard to child rearing, where it's like, I just go to work. But I'm like, is it funny or cute or fun to laugh about not being involved in the day-to-day hard work of child rearing? Like, it's so, like, Will like laughed about it like it was the funniest thing in the world. You have 3 kids. It's like, you know, and just being like, I'm not the hard work dad. I'm the school projects dad. I'm the sports dad. And it's like, but that's where the work is. Now, look, I'm an aunt, very proud aunt. I'm a great aunt. I like to say I'm the best aunt in the world. I'm the fun aunt. I'll show up. Let's do an activity. Let's have some fun. Let's have an experience. And then Kimberly's going home. But Kimberly don't have no kids. That's why I don't have any children. Because the other stuff is just as important. I found that to be extremely distasteful, but that's just me. Moving on. All right, Media Kim is back. Let's talk about Call Her Daddy. This is embarrassing. Yes. All you need is, that was horrible. How are you a father and not just a bank offering infinite funds to a family? And honestly, like, that shit is what connects to the Nick Cannon shit, where it's like, look, I understand that some women love to just want to change all of the diapers and do it happily and want to clean up the puke and want to do bath time and want to do bedtime and run after kids and do the meals all day. It just seems really, really imbalanced in a way that runs women down. But if you like it, I love it. If you like it, I love it. All right, let's move on. I'm not sure if you've heard about a little podcast called Call Her Daddy. All right, because I honestly had not even really heard of Call Her Daddy until all of that shit went down last year, where basically there's this huge bro podcast on Barstool Sports called Call Her Daddy, and it was two very conventionally attractive white girls talking about fucking, basically. Like, that is, it was Alex Cooper and Sophia Franklin, and they made this huge brand. When I say huge, we're talking Joe Rogan numbers. Huge brand, talking about sucking dick and fucking to white men who live with their moms, right? Like white men who cheat on their wives, like that. That was the brand. And then there was like a huge falling out when they were having to renegotiate their contract with Barstool. And so one of the women, Sophia, she wanted more money and ownership and more of the merch. And then the other girl, Alex, who is the girl pictured in this image, she just wanted to take the deal that Barstool was offering her. And I think a part of the deal was they were going to get $500,000 a year and maybe a percentage of the merch, like $500,000 a year base, and then maybe bonuses. And Sophia, I listened to her podcast. Sophia was saying that at that time, the Call Her Daddy podcast was making at least $10 million a year. So she felt like $500,000 was just not enough. And she wanted more ownership and she wanted more upside. And so she decided to walk away. But Alex decided to stay with Barstool and sign a deal where she made that money, had the opportunity to get paid off of the merch, and had the opportunity to keep the IP of Call Her Daddy. Now, I know people who don't work in media maybe don't understand that, like, the $500,000, yes, like for a normal person, like, yes, that is an ungodly amount of money. It's not that much money for a podcast as successful as Call Her Daddy. The real gold mine in that deal was the IP. The real crazy shit of that deal that Alex decided to sign with Barstool without Sophia is she stays with Barstool Sports for a year, and then the IP gets to revert completely back to her. That shit is crazy. That's an incredible deal. Like, when I heard that, I was just like, whoa. Because all media companies understand that what you want is the intellectual property. What you want is the name so that you can license the name if they want to make a Call Her Daddy movie, a Call Her Daddy TV show, a Call Her Daddy spinoff. Like, that is the shit. So the fact that Alex was able to keep that, that's some, look, I can't even be mad. That's some next level shit right there. So anyways, Sophia left. Alex re-signed, got to keep all of Call Her Daddy instead of splitting it with Sophia. And so now the year is up, and now she has moved on to sign with Spotify. And now she's getting $60 million for 3 years. The shit is fucking crazy. Like, it's fucking crazy. IP means ownership. Yeah, what does IP mean? IP means that now, after a year, Sophia gets to shop, call her daddy around wherever she wants because she owns it. So she can broker this huge deal with Spotify. She can broker a huge deal with HBO. She doesn't have to split that money with anybody because she owns it. That is the money. That is where wealth comes from. So anyway, she signed this three-year, $20 million a year deal with Spotify. Still gets to make money off the merch. Still gets to make money off of touring. Like, that shit is crazy. I don't know how many more times I can say that, but like, it's the kind of deal that just never happens, especially not if you Black. Like, it just never happens. So anyways, Sophia, people are asking what happened to Sophia. Sophia has started her own podcast, and I listened to a couple of episodes of that podcast yesterday, and she's saying now she's making way more money than she did when she was with Barstool, but she ain't making $60 million. She ain't making $60 million. She's not. Does the other girl get no cut for founding the podcast? Nope, she doesn't get anything. I wonder how she managed to land that kind of money. I mean, look, the Call Her Daddy podcast is huge. It is really, really big. In fact, let's listen to him talk about it. Okay, so this is very Media Kim right now, but we're going to dig into it, right? So that's Dave Portnoy, who runs Barstool, saying that he probably could have kept Sophia and Call Her Daddy at Barstool, and she wouldn't have been paid $20 million because they just can't afford it, but he would have had to be on her ass, right? Because they have to somehow recoup that money, because Barstool is a not huge company, like not huge business that needs to make their money back. You cannot compete with a Spotify that is a huge multinational conglomerate that can literally piss money away, that can literally set money on fire. And that is actually what Spotify is doing right now. Is Spotify is trying to be the place for where people go to listen to podcasts. Oh, I'm not going to talk about the conversations I've had. Actually, I won't talk about that. They are trying to be the place where people go to listen to podcasts. So they are throwing money at The Ringer. They are throwing money at, before that deal collapsed, Joe Budden, throwing money at Joe Rogan. Not in the hopes that they're going to recoup that money. They didn't give Joe Rogan $100 million because they think Joe Rogan is going to, it doesn't matter whether or not he makes that $100 million for them back. They are trying to build up catalog. They are trying to have us say, I want to listen to a podcast. Let me go to Spotify. Like, that is the aim. It's not to make money. And so they can afford to give Sophia whatever she wants just to get more people migrating over to the Spotify platform. Barstool can't afford to do that. Okay. Let's move on. Oh, this is what I wanted to talk about. Next thing I wanted to talk about was Keeping Up with the Kardashians is over 20 seasons. After 20 seasons, I unabashedly watched Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Oh my gosh, somebody gave me a skin compliment. Thank you so much. You know what video I want to do? Maybe I'll do it on this channel. I actually want to do a video about how good skin is classist. Let me not go too deep into this. And maybe this is fitting for the Kardashian conversation we're about to have. But you know, if you watched me on For Harriet for any extended period of time, you know that when I first really started making videos, my skin was not good. I've had bad skin since I was 9. Okay? I have the best skin I ever have right now because I have the most money I've ever had. Because I spend the most time. Because I buy the expensive shit. Because I do the fancy rich people shit at the dermatologist. That's why my skin looks good. So like all of this conversation about, you know, like drink water, use shea butter, like go to sleep at 7. Like, no, get some money and then you can have some good skin. But anyways, we'll move on. I wanted to talk about this clip from the Kardashians. So the Kardashians did a 2-part reunion. Oh, I see that. I've literally spent thousands. I have 82% good skin. Good skin is expensive as fuck. $300 a month on facials to get okay skin. I had to stop. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Chloe is so miserable. Skincare scares me. It's so overwhelming. Like, are we talking about acne? It's not shallow. Yeah. Can we have a Britney update video? This went from white flight to white spite in a single montage. Right. Okay. That's a myth. You do not need to break the bank to have good skin. Let me just say this. Here's what I'm going to say. You might not have needed to break the bank to have good skin, but we are not all in the same boat. We're not. I don't want to make the video before I make the video, but I will say, as somebody who had horrible acne for 20 years, who has tried everything, has changed diets and facials and random products. The thing that has done the most improvement for my skin is a procedure that costs $500. $500 a month. So for some people, you can use the ordinary products and have healthy, beautiful, glowing skin. It didn't work for me. Okay? I needed fucking lasers. That's what I fucking needed. All right, let's move on. I wanted to talk about this. This.
Do you think that you are promoting unattainable standards of beauty in any way?
No, I don't. Because I think we get up, we do the work, we work out, you know.
We all really enjoy taking care of ourselves and being healthy. So I think if anything, the only thing we're really trying to represent is just having the most healthy, being the most healthy version of yourself.
Throughout the show.
Okay. This shit is fucking crazy. Like, are you fucking kidding me? You know, look, I understand that Khloe Kardashian has endured a lot of abuse because of her physical appearance. And it's fat phobia, and it's people making fun of her nose and her lumpy ass. And, you know, that revenge body show when she actually got lipo. I get it. But all of the Kardashians are going to keep getting dragged because they lie. I can only imagine, right? Like, just as a person who just sits on my living room and feels lots of pressure to have good skin, or, you know, people commenting on the fact that I've gained weight or whatever, I cannot imagine what it would be like to be as famous as Kim, Khloe, Kendall, Kylie, Courtney, and have to deal with all of that feedback. But you can't get any sympathy from me if you are lying. And they consistently lie. And so they're going to get consistently dragged. So when Andy gives you the opportunity to say, to be self-reflective and say, yeah, like cosmetic procedures and all of, and then the response is, we just live a healthy lifestyle. We just live a healthy life. You didn't get your lips by living a healthy lifestyle, Kendall. Those lips did not come from going vegan, Kendall. Kim's proportions, the way that Kim's body is shaped, is not from going to the gym. If you look at Kim 10 years ago and now, completely different body shape. That does not come from getting up at 5 a.m. Look at Chloe's lumpy ass. You don't get that from doing squats. So if we're not going to be honest about the enormous investment in your bodies that you make, I cannot give you any sympathy or empathy for the way that people gonna drag you when you look crazy. Because it's damaging. It's harmful. You are contributing to a society where people are like, well, I get up at 5 a.m. and I don't look like, because it's not fucking squats. It's not ab exercises. The shit is fucking annoying. Okay. I forgot what Chloe looks like. Too many faces to keep track of. The way they always use Chloe as the scapegoat to address surgery. It's sad and hilarious when they all have surgery. Kylie has surgery. Kylie looks right now as old as me. Kylie looks like she's in her 30s because she's injecting her face with so much stuff. Injectables are not made for people who are in their 20s. It looks weird. It makes you look older. Okay, honestly convinced they only lie to stay in the news and get talked about. Right. Once a year, a friendly reminder goes viral of Kylie's old face, for sure. They all have new faces, then gonna say they're healthy, right? Like, exactly. And it's like you're monetizing your bodies. You are trying to sell us. And that's the other... Oh, don't get me started on this shit. Y'all have already got me started on this shit. But that's the other thing, right? It's not just that they lie about surgery. It's that they also promote weird, harmful diet shit to their followers. They promote the diet teas and the diet lollipops and the waist trainers and the butt creams that are supposed to lift up your ass. You're fucking lying. But it's not just an individual lie. You're selling the lie. You're profiting off of lying. And that shit deserves to be called out. And that is why the next time Chloe's grandma accidentally posts, a weird looking picture of her, she gonna get dragged again. Because it doesn't make sense. You're hurting people. Let me look at the comments. Remember, Kylie pretended to have not gotten lip fillers, right? And she was getting lip fillers when she was like 17. People would leave them alone if they were more upfront or leaned into their mess. Truly, if they were like, I got this surgery and that surgery, and I'm the reason, if Kim was like, I'm the reason why BBLs are the most popular surgery now, then we could have a real conversation about that. But, Kim has for real body dysmorphia. For real. Kim be bragging like, oh, I lost 10 pounds. And it's like, ew, like fucking yikes. Fucking yikes. Poor MJ. How are you mad grandma didn't Facetune your photo? For sure. MJ was like, this is my grandbaby. I'm just posting a pic of my grandbaby. And then Kim and Chloe are like, take it down. It's like, if y'all would stop lying, then we wouldn't even have to go through this. Okay. Yes, but they put in work. All right, let's move on. How many more things do I have? Oh, Rachel Lindsay. This is an interesting article on Vulture where Rachel Lindsay is basically talking about how racist The Bachelor was and why she has decided to walk away from the franchise and burn it down. I thought it was really good. I always love Allison P. Davis. Basically, the Bachelor knew that they had a race problem. The Bachelorette knew that they had a race problem. They set Rachel up to be the first Black Bachelorette. They put no effort into recruiting men who actually like Black women. And so if y'all watch the season, that's the only season of The Bachelorette that I've ever watched from start to finish. The Black men on that season were not it. It wasn't it. They were not it. The Black men on that season were not, it was not giving what it was supposed to have gave, okay? But, you know, Rachel also talks about being the exceptional Black girl in that article. Her father, she's from Dallas. Her father is a federal judge in Dallas. She's a lawyer. One day she decided that she wanted to do something different. So she signed up to be on The Bachelor. And then she has to deal with all of this racism stuff. And then there's always like a racism thing happening in Bachelor Nation. So then she has to speak back to it. And now she is officially severing those ties. That's basically it. I thought it was really interesting. The behind the scenes stuff that she gets into was really interesting about how everything is so orchestrated. You know, they set things up. Producers, I guess we already knew this, you know, if you watched Unreal, the producers set up different scenarios. They get people drunk. They don't let people leave. They are trying to orchestrate different kinds of conflicts. Anyways, you know, racists are gonna racist. So that was Rachel. Moving on. Oh, okay. This will be the last thing we talk about. God, I've been on here for so long. I've been on here just talking to y'all for so long, but I just wanted to like have an outlet to talk about my random shit, okay? The Juve rum thing with Michael B. Jordan. So my first instinct, okay, the background. Michael B. Jordan's company was trying to trademark Juve in order to launch a rum brand. Okay. Michael B. Jordan, to my knowledge, is Black American. I asked around. He does not appear to have any ancestry in the Caribbean. He is not West Indian. But he just wanted to create this liquor brand because everybody's making a liquor brand, right? And so in order to do that, they filed a patent. Somebody found out about the patent, and then immediately there's a big pushback among the West Indian side of the internet being like, you can't do that. You can't do that. Like, that's not right. And there was a lot of momentum around that. Now, there's so many conversations to be had here, right? You know, there's a Black capitalism is not going to save us conversation to be had. I say this all the time. Black capitalism is not going to save us. I have no problem with Black people wanting to build businesses, wanting, quote, financial freedom, because honestly, having a job for me was a fate worse than death. It fucking sucks. But also we have to understand that just building businesses does not mean that we are working on behalf of Black liberation. In fact, the pursuit to build a big business, right? Pursuing profit often means that you're going to have to do some fucking shady shit. Okay. And like trying to trademark the name for a festival, like a Caribbean festival that starts the beginning of Carnival, is the shadiest of shady shit. It actually reminds me of when Kim, before Skims, it was going to be called Kimono, and the Japanese were like, you can't do that. That does not make sense. Kimono is an actual word that belongs to a culture. You can't trademark it and then try to sell it. It doesn't make sense. And it is actually similar, right? This is the thing about like being a Black person. And we have look, we have to have a conversation about how we as Black people can respectfully engage with the cultures and the histories and the norms and the food and the festivities and the garb, right, of other Black ethnicities, Black nationalities. But there's a way to do it respectfully. We don't get carte blanche to do whatever we want just because we all Black. I feel the exact same way. And by the way, this is not biased against Black Americans, because I feel the exact same way about the way that people engage with Juneteenth. I feel the exact same way. Okay? We as Black people all contend with anti-Blackness, but our cultures can't just be flattened in that way, right? The specificity still matters. Heritage and ties still matter. And so we have to stop ourselves from acting like colonizers with each other. I'm a Black American person, right? I respect the cultures of West Indian folks. I respect the cultures of African folks, but that's not my cult. I don't get to lay claim to that just because we all Black. And I certainly don't get to build a company off of it. I certainly don't get to profit from it just because we're all Black. And I do think that is, a hazard of the way that we kind of flatten conversations about anti-Blackness just by saying, well, is anti-Blackness is, the central force of oppression in the world, where it's like, no, actually, and this is why it's good to be a Black feminist. This is why it's good to engage with Black feminist thought. It's like, no, actually, there are so many different ways to slice and dice privilege and access and opportunity, even within the diaspora. Even as a Black American, I understand that when I travel outside of the country, I still have an American passport. And that means something. And that means that I can participate wittingly or unwittingly in the colonial project simply by virtue of wielding my American passport. That means that if you are a privileged immigrant who is able to come here, there are ways that you can displace Black Americans in the United States. Yes, it does happen. I'm not debating it. It absolutely does happen. And it's not your fault, but it does happen. Well, sometimes it's not your fault. Those are hard conversations to have. Those are nuanced conversations to have. So anyways, today, or maybe it was yesterday, maybe last night, Michael decided to, he released a statement, well, not released a statement. He posted on his Instagram stories that he has seen the outcry and that he is going to rename the company. Great. Awesome. Awesome. We don't have to drag this man. He doesn't have to be canceled. We can say, that wasn't right. That wasn't right. And move on. Disney tried to trademark Dia de los Muertos for the Coco movie. I'm sure they did. Yes to AAVE, seeing folks gatekeeping when they shouldn't be. As someone from the Caribbean, it was scary because, the history would be completely erased to mean something else. True. Yeah. So glad he's changing the name and didn't double down. But everyone everywhere in the diaspora benefits from African American, Black American culture. I mean, look, we're giving and taking. And I'll be honest, I do sometimes think it's weird when I log on to watch a video from a Black British person and they are talking like Megan Thee Stallion. Sometimes I do think that's weird. But I understand that, there's the cultural exchange, like it's gonna flow. And because of the internet, we have so much access to each other. You know, some stuff is gonna happen. I don't necessarily want to. I'm not even somebody who believes that, like, I'm not obsessed with, you know, the boundaries conversation. I am obsessed with if you're going to participate, if you're going to engage, then we have to make sure that we are not participating in exploitation or erasure. Because there's so much contact between different communities in the diaspora. Like, are we really going to yell at, you know, Ghanaians for twerking? Like, no. But I think it's important, right? Like, where is this from? What does it mean? Conversations are important. Okay. But Beyonce has fully benefited from selling an Africa product that are palatable to African Americans. And I've seen lots of Africans drag Beyonce. I mean, I don't know what you want me to do. I don't know. I've seen lots of Africans drag Beyonce, and I listen to Africans when they drag Beyonce. I'm not sure if y'all are expecting me to defend Beyonce. It's not gonna happen. Like, I don't defend billionaires. Like, I don't know what you want. Okay. Let's wrap this up. I think that's all I have, you guys. This was long. I just had a lot to talk about. I just had a lot of random ideas floating around in my head. Thought it would be fun to jump on here. Let me try to get back. Let me make sure I didn't miss any freaking super chats while we're waiting. Why is my Google alerts are set up to see what Britney is doing, and apparently she testified today about why she needs to be out of her conservatorship. Now, I didn't add this to the list, but you know, there was a recent New York Times article about Britney's conservatorship where it was like she gets $2,000 a week allowance, and I'm like, that shit is crazy. That shit is crazy. You're giving somebody who's worth tens of millions of dollars an allowance of $8,000 a month? Now, I understand $8,000 is a lot of money for us plebes. It is. It's not a lot of money for Britney Spears. It's not. Britney can't even buy a Birkin if she wants to. Right? Like, Britney can't even buy, you know, Cartier jewelry if she wants to. Like, that shit is crazy. Anyways, okay, I just looked at the super chats. Thank you, Pop Culture Guru, KL, Saja Davis, Brittany. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Right after this, I am going to do a life update for the members of this channel and for the subscribers of the Substack. So I will see you then. Oh, I see people. Oh, we'll end on this. Kim, looking better every day. Thank you. You know what's so funny? Actually, no, this is not a conversation that I'm going to have in public, but my boyfriend said something about this to me. Okay. I'll see you later. Oh, let me get this off. How can I get this off the screen? Bye.